This is David Frederick, and I'm front row. The WWF Wrestling Classic, November 7th, 1985, in Chicago, Illinois, from the Rosemont Horizon. It was not. It was just the very first WWF pay-per-view, but it wasn't promoted as a pay-per-view. That's just a. It's still in its virgin stages. The pay-per-view. It's not really nationwide, despite the fact cable is. It's WWF label is WrestleVision rather than the pay-per-view. And this is going to be in the Wrestling Classic. Basically overall, it's a most of the show is a 16-man tournament, and the winner gets a Rolls Royce apparently. And the opening match, first round, is Adrian Adonis against Corporal Kurtzman. Now, Corporal Kurtzman is one of the probably second best character that came out of a militaristic character. Nothing will ever overcome the most popular military character in the history of professional wrestling, was Sergeant Slaughter. Corporal Kurtzman. Here's the funny thing about his name is it's pronounced verbally on camera as Kurtzman with an S, but it's actually spelled with a C-H, Kurtzman. Thing is, he is a real live Army veteran. He was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division of the United States Army. So that's real. And apparently he met with Hulk Hogan in a Minnesota gym, and Hogan introduced him to the American Wrestling Association, eventually into the WWF. So he is real life military background. However, he's wrestling Adrian Adonis, and the thing is that Jesse the Body Ventura, along with Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse Ventura, he pushes the fact that Adrian Adonis has a lot of wrestling experience. Despite the fact you can see the weight, Adrian Adonis' weight, it's gaining on him. He was thinner. It's gaining on him, and reaching about 1 or 2 years from this point, he really gains weight upon going about 87. But you can see the weight gain on Adonis. But Adonis has experience, and he proved it in this match. The match is not even barely 2 minutes. And Corporal Kurtzman tried to have a headlock on him, and then Adrian turned it really quick into flat dropped Kurtzman right down and defeated Corporal Kurtzman, the first opening round match of this Wrestling Classic tournament. But it just proves that I don't think Corporal Kurtzman was made out to become a professional wrestler. As Jesse Ventura pointed out, he should have stayed in the military. It's a vague ripper copy on Sergeant Slaughter. With the WWF, it was their attempt to continue the gimmick of Sergeant Slaughter. But this match proved that he really wouldn't make it in the WWF, where Adrian Adonis beat him within 2 minutes. Next match in the Wrestling Classic Tournament first round is Dynamite Kid versus Nikolai Volkoff. Now, Nikolai Volkoff would usually do the Russian national anthem, but apparently, eventually, as a second he was done that song, Dynamite Kid was gonna play around. He climbs the top rope, off the top rope drop kick, and quickly covers a stunned Nikolai Volkoff and pins him in, it seemed like, 5 seconds. But Dynamite Kid wins a very quick match on Nikolai Volkoff in the first round. Our third match of the first round, Randy Macho Man Savage against Polish Power Ivan Putski. Jesse Ventura did the commentary, kept bringing up one thing, that the power of Ivan Putski, very powerful man, and Randy Macho Man Savage, he definitely had to use psychological experience, psychological warfare against the Polish Power. As much as Savage has some ring experience, Ivan Putski's been around a long time too, but he wasn't going to overcome Ivan Putski's power. One thing that was drive me crazy. It's funny, but I've always found it annoying by Jesse Ventura mispronouncing the wrestlers' names. He did it with Tito Santana, called him Chico. Ivan Putski, he pronounced it Paduski. I know it's a heel announcer, but that's annoying. But this match also did not last that long. Savage wasn't about to fight. Whether it's wrestling against wrestling, it was power against and ring psychology versus power, and that's what Savage had to do. And he pulled Putski's legs right from under him and used the second rope, put his legs on the second rope for leverage, and pinned Ivan Putski in a very short match. It was psychological warfare versus power, and Randy Macho Man Savage won this one. Fourth match of the tournament. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Davey Boy Smith, one half of the British Bulldogs. Now, this match, the ending of this match proves why faces, baby faces, good guys, fan favorites cannot face each other. They feel sorry for each other. And they said, now, there was no video available, unless it's done a TV taping, or some part of pay-per-view that's missing, it's called a pick of the draw, where they're picking out of a bowl who they're facing. It said, Gorilla Monsoon and Justin Ventura said that when Ricky Steamboat or Davey Boy Smith, one or the other, picked their opponents out of a bowl of names. Oh, he's a nice guy. This is gonna be an interesting match. Both Jesse and Gorilla said this was a good, interesting wrestling match for the first few minutes that it was. Good, interesting wrestling match. But and Davey Boy, and they're both doing power moves and drop kicks, suplexes. Good wrestling match. They try to work with each other. But okay, here's what went wrong. And I was looking at how Davey Boy Smith, they think he was going for a drop kick. No, he went for some kind of an unusual move. Ricky Steamboat was against the ropes, and Jesse and Gorilla say that Davey Boy Smith crotched the top rope. No, he didn't. He didn't come near the top rope. It was something to do with the middle rope, but his thigh hit apparently hard against the top rope or middle rope. His thigh. Because I'm seeing the rope did not touch his groin, his testicle or penis area. It did not touch that area whatsoever. Now, the question is whether they use this ploy, this idea to end the match quickly of who was going to win over two baby faces. Now, some officials came over to help Davey Boy Smith out of the ring. The question is whether or not this was a legit injury or a setup injury to end the match quickly. Because the ropes did not hit his crotch area real hard. He hit his thigh area, Davey Boy Smith. So I don't know why they couldn't. No, they're ending these matches very quickly. There's not been a match so far that hasn't gone barely 5 minutes. Not even 2 to 3 minutes each. Out of 10 minute, each match is supposed to be 10-minute time limit. These matches have gone no more than 2 to 3 minutes each. So far, on the fourth match, they're ending these matches very quickly. So an injury between two baby faces, I don't know if this was legit, but that the ropes did not hit his crotch area whatsoever. It hit his thigh. And if it was a legit injury, why did they keep it on camera? But Ricky Steamboat overcame the moment that Davey Boy Smith hit the rope, the middle rope, with his thigh area. Immediately, I don't know whether the referee checked with Davey Boy Smith. He was grinning or grinching in pain. I have seen wrestlers in other videos. Oh, you could tell they hit the groin area. Oh, you could tell. They're in oh my God, agonizing pain. Davey Boy Smith, you couldn't tell if he was really and truly in pain, it was legit or not. But the referee quickly called the bell. The moment Davey Boy Smith hit those ropes, the referee quickly called for the bell and awarded the match to Ricky Steamboat. Continuing the first round, the fifth match, the Iron Sheik versus the Junkyard Dog. Again, Junkyard Dog comes out to a set of queens. Another one bites the dust. He comes out to that Graham Dem Kegs, which is produced by WWF. Iron Sheik and Junkyard Dog. Yeah, interesting matchup. Again, ring experience against really powerhouse. And Junkyard Dog is headbutts and clotheslines, but Iron Sheik, he did the ring experience. Even at some point, the Iron Sheik applied the camel clutch, but it wasn't secure. He didn't secure the camel clutch the way he did, on other opponents. It was maybe it's half as much as he would apply. Junkyard Dog had, interestingly, it vaguely seemed that Junkyard Dog was gonna, no, kind of pass out. No, his body and arms, it seemed like he was letting go, but his body, and I think Jesse and Gorilla said it, that Sheik let Junkyard Dog, or Junkyard Dog let himself lower his body down, which did not allow the camel clutch to be such a secure hold. So it was an escape of the camel clutch in a kind of a vague sense. But eventually, Junkyard Dog, he did enough headbutts that covered the Iron Sheik for the pin. Moving on in the first round, sixth match, Terry Funk against Moondog Spot. Now, you talk about when I said before with baby faces facing each other, same thing goes with heels. Terry Funk thinks he was going to outsmart Moondog Spot. And Terry Funk is a talker. And he tries to talk Moondog Spot. Do you want to face me? I don't want to face you. Or just leave the ring. And yeah, the problem is if they both leave the ring and just not have a match, they don't want to face each other. Heels don't want to face each other. And Terry Funk being a psychological warfare here. And they wonder about who's going to leave the ring first. Yeah, but if they both leave the ring, it's going to be a draw of whatnot and both be eliminated. Terry Funk invited Moondog Spot to leave. Moondog Spot, no, you go first. And Terry Funk let Moondog out. Moondog walk out. Terry Funk they comes from behind and clobbers Moondog Spot as he's walking down the pathway. Now, Gorilla Monsoon has a famous ism that he in this one he said double cross by Terry Funk because Terry Funk's from the Double Cross Ranch. I'm surprised Gorilla Monsoon had a famous ism. Oh, Pearl Harbor job. No, I'm surprised he didn't say that in this one. He said it many matches. Oh, Pearl Harbor job from behind. No, he did. It would have been cool to hear that. But then what? Okay, here's what's strange about the result of this. Terry Funk clobbers from behind. They call it a double cross. This is heel against heel, and Terry Funk went to race back to the ring. Moondog pulls him back Moondog runs to the ring, pulls him back out, and this must have been a very fast count by the referee because outside of the ring, because suddenly Moondog Spot gets back in and the referee calls for the bell. That was a very fast count. He was counting both men guys out, but then he raised Moondog Spot's arm in victory. He defeats Terry Funk by a count out. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Usually you have to break. Usually it's the referee has to count a person out while they're out. But if they're both outside, it would be a double count out. But the wrestler would have to. One wrestler enters. I guess it's been depending on the referee in a territory how that worked. Usually, if the count out, if both men are out, one rolls in. It depends on what territory they're working in. It would end a count out. Then the referee would have to restart the count against the one that's still outside. No, the WWF referee continued to double count on both, but when Moondog Spot entered, he awarded the Moondog Spot by count out. Okay, it's a different way of doing a count out. But Moondog Spot overcomes Terry Funk. This was heel psychological warfare, which Terry Funk got double crossed. The seventh match of the night, continuing the first round, is my favorite, Tito Santana, the current Intercontinental Champion, versus the magnificent Don Muraco with Mr. Fuji in his corner. Oh yeah, you gotta love watching these guys wrestle, especially Tito and Don Muraco. The Intercontinental title rivalry between these two, and it's it's not disappointing whatsoever. Tito first opening domination of Muraco. Muraco makes his comeback. Oh man, now. Each of these matches are really short in this first round. It's really disappointing because you want to see those with the fight for the Intercontinental title. It's the prestige of this title. It makes these guys really bring it all out. And Tito Santana, everyone knows he's one of my all-time and long-time favorites. And Don Muraco, versus Don Muraco, who's one of his long-time rivals. What do you say? They're classic wrestlers, and they always will be entertaining, enjoying to watch these guys. The title or no title, you love watching these guys. Now, the surprise ending that the referee, yeah, he's kind of an old man for previously with the Iron Sheik Junkyard Dog match that he refereed, and Iron Sheik kept throwing this old man away 2 to 3 times, and Iron Sheik should have been disqualified for grabbing the referee, and Jesse Ventura kept putting that out. And so this old man refereeing this Tito Santana Don Muraco match, kind of slow. And yes, he proved he was kind of slow, but this referee redeemed himself in a sense. He made a 3 count where Don Muraco pins Tito Santana. They were way too close to the ropes, but the camera did not show Tito's foot. You could tell Tito put his leg on the rope, but the camera was really off angle to see his foot on the rope. The referee made a 3 count, but at the second he made the 3 count, the referee realized, oh God, Tito's foot is on the rope. He doesn't really say match. He tells Tito he's continuing the match. Muraco thinks he's won it. Tito quickly small packages Muraco into the referee calls for a 3 count. Oh, Jesse Ventura, he is really ticked off at that one. Who told Muraco the match was continuing? The referee didn't do that. I have to agree with that. The referee should have informed Muraco that I'm continuing the match because Tito's foot was on the rope. But Tito quickly small packaged Muraco to win the match and continue in the tournament. The 8th and last match of the first round of the Wrestling Classic tournament is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff against Bob Orton Jr. Oh, I was a longtime fan of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Loved the name Paul Orndorff. Big, good, strong, long-time experienced wrestler. And I have never been a fan of Bob Orton Jr. I don't know I just never saw him in it much. I know he's a long-time experienced wrestler from the territories of the Atlantic area. I have far more respect for his father, Bob Orton Sr. And he had a younger brother, jobber talent enhancement Barry O. I just don't ever like Bob Orton Jr. I never saw much in him, but growing up, I was a big fan of Paul Orndorff, whether he was heel or face. I always liked Paul Orndorff. A pretty good wrestling match between the two. It was pretty good. Pretty good back and forth match. Here's the thing something I'm missing here. Previously, before this match started, Bobby the Brain and Bobby the Weasel says he has $50,000. He's putting a bounty on Paul Orndorff. Now, this is involving Roddy Piper because, okay, this match with Paul Orndorff and Bob Orton Jr., they said, oh, this tournament matches are luck of the draw. I don't think so. This last match is a grudge match because of what happened at WrestleMania 1 when Bob Orton Jr. Used his cast, and I've yet to figure out why he's wearing a cast. There's an injury I have not yet seen, and that's very difficult to even think or believe that I haven't seen something in wrestling history. Bob Orton Jr. hit Paul Orndorff with his cast in that tag team match at WrestleMania 1, which cost Piper and Orndorff the match, where Hogan pinned Orndorff after the cast hit by Orton. Well, Bob Orton Jr. Even Gorilla Monsoon says, what's he doing with the cast? Bob Orton Jr. turns his cast, puts his finger inside or something. He turns his cast to a position, his arm cast, and he hits Paul Orndorff right in the face with it. Referee immediately calls for disqualification. Paul Orndorff has won the last match in the first round over Bob Orton Jr. by a disqualification. But what's Bobby here? What's with the $50,000 bounty? Unless Piper's put up $50,000 bounty and Bobby Heenan's involved in that, something I'm missing here in part of the TV history of the WWF. But Paul Orndorff now goes into the quarterfinals after a disqualification win over Bob Orton Jr. All right, now we start the quarterfinal matches of the Wrestling Classic tournament. The first match is Dynamite Kid versus Adrian Adonis, and he's still with Jimmy Hart. The one thing that was different about the opening of this match was that Howard Finkel, the ring announcer, announced that how the first participants of this quarterfinals, who they defeated in the first round. Now, that's very unusual for any tournament ever televised. And can you name a tournament where the ring announcer told the crowd whom these quarterfinals opponents have faced in the previous rounds. That's a first, where it could be as announced it's on the screen, quarterfinal match, who's facing who, and then the ring the commentators can do the same thing, but never where the ring announcers said it. Here's the thing: when they said before in the first round match, Adrian Adonis had far more experience than Corporal Kurtzman. Now Adrian Adonis is going to face somebody with far more experience. Adrian Adonis has been around. He's been around with the AWA with commentator Jesse Ventura. They're the East-West Connection AWA Tag Team Champions. He has experience. However, Dynamite Kid has a lot more experience, a lot more ring savvy, a lot more ring. Oh wow, he is around. Dynamite Kid is, many copied him. Chris Benoit, for example. Dynamite Kid, half of the British Bulldogs. I believe he is out of the Stu Hart dungeon, as many of the Canadians and the Hart family. If I'm not mistaken, Dynamite Kid was trained in the Stu Hart dungeon, and I have not yet looked up Dynamite Kid's historical records, but I'm probably right. Dynamite Kid's off the top rope and death-defying, his moves, his ring mannerisms, incredibly experienced, and that's what really overcame Adrian Adonis. Wow, there was so many times Adrian Adonis had to kick out of a lot of moves, but Jimmy Hart's interference, one or two times, ended up costing Adrian Adonis. Dynamite Kid pinned Adrian Adonis to continue in this tournament. With Jimmy Hart kept interfering, and times Adrian Adonis was able to kick out, but one too many times that Adrian Adonis collided with Jimmy Hart, and Dynamite Kid pins Adrian Adonis. Okay, our second match in the quarterfinals, and this is going to be, I thought this would be historical, because I did not know they had met before WrestleMania 3, which would be about 2 years later. This is 1985, and WrestleMania 3 is in 87. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Randy Macho Man Savage, and wow, and for the 15-minute time limit for the quarterfinals, wow, shades of WrestleMania 3 to come. Really, they really went at it. Wow, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Randy Macho Man Savage. What we would see 2 years from now was shades of that match in this match. Wow. Great match. Even though Steamboat kind of dominated Savage, and hell, Savage at first, before the match started, using Elizabeth as a shield. That's just typical what he either used to be or what he still stayed as Liz. I don't know whether people know whether it was a gimmick or just the way he was for real, as using was he really mean to Elizabeth? The stories of how he treated her backstage. It's hard to tell if the situation between him and Elizabeth. I mean, they're really married in real life, but the question is whether or not the mistreatment of her is gimmick or it was true. Who's to say? There's so many of the those that were working in the WWF. They give different stories. Anyway. Again, great match. The quarterfinals are really showing how the improvement on the wrestling quality. It's no copy of the first round matches that were so fast. Yes, these are fast matches. This show is going to be about 2.5 hour show, and it's a long tournament. But this is match I never knew that they had faced before. Now, if they faced in house shows, I don't know, but I don't think they ever showed. No, they don't think they met. This is the first time they met on TV, probably. And this is again shades of WrestleMania 3 to come. Now, when it comes to the finale of this match, an exact copy of February 1980. This is 1985, and this is going to be an exact copy of how Randy Macho Man Savage would take the Intercontinental title from Tito Santana. What he does in this match to Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat picks him up from the ropes and goes for a back body drop, and Savage pulls some kind of object out of his tights and punches Steamboat as they fall down, and knocks Steamboat out, and he covers Ricky Steamboat for the win to continue into the finals. This would be an exact copy of how he would take the Intercontinental title just a few months in February of 1986 from Tito Santana. But Randy Macho Man Savage continues, and one thing before this match even started also is Jesse the Body Ventura's, biased, unbiased, his situation with, he wants Randy Macho Man, Jesse the Body Ventura, sorry. Oh, do I get tongue-tied doing these reviews. Jesse Ventura leaves ringside, surprising Gorilla Monsoon, and he says, "I'm gonna go talk with the Macho Man. I've seen the flaws, how he how he should work, deal, and handle these future opponents." And it's funny how when Jesse Ventura returns to ringside for commentary, and Monsoon says, "Welcome back, Bod." But it's definitely no doubt that Jesse Ventura wins Randy Macho Man Savage will win. But for this this particular match, it's shades of WrestleMania 3 and an exact copy of how I know I keep repeating myself how Savage takes the Intercontinental from Tito Santana, but this was with a good match, and I'll repeat myself over again. Shadows to come of a future historical match to come between Savage and Steamboat, but Savage overcame Steamboat to continue in the tournament. Okay, the third match in the quarterfinals. Oh my God, this shocked me. As much as this should have been a quick win, it was a quick win between Moondog Spot and the Junkyard Dog. Again, Howard Finkel continues to announce whom these wrestlers in the quarterfinals have beat in the first round. He continues to do that. Wow, this had to make WWF history, if not wrestling history. There have been particular matches that worked without a referee. This shocked me. Can you name another match in WWF history this occurred, with the exception of maybe the alley street fight with Pat Patterson and Sergeant Slaughter? And it was a particular situation. But this one, Moondog Spot tried to get the upper hand on Junkyard Dog. He jumped off the second rope and missed that shot very quickly, and then Junkyard Dog did a couple of headbutts. Junkyard Dog then goes to cover Moondog Spot. There is no referee in the ring. Junkyard Dog just taps his hand on the mat. 1, 2, 3. The bell rings. Junkyard Dog declares himself the winner. That's legal and official. Then Gorilla Monsoon says a judge at ringside shakes his head up and down and approves the win. Name a match in WWF history that is not gimmicked to be without a referee, to have the wrestler make his own count and be legal. Why wasn't there a referee in the ring? They said the match started before a referee could even get in the ring. Oh my God, the things going on in this tournament. Junkyard Dog tops Moondog Spot, makes his own count, and continues to the finals of this tournament. Okay. Okay, the last match of the quarterfinals, fourth match, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff against favorite Tito Santana. Now, even Jesse Bobby Ventura pointed out that Tito is wearing a bandage on his left upper thigh, and unless something happened during the Muraco match, and unless he's gimmicking a reason for giving Paul Orndorff something to work on, unsimilar to what happened with what actually happened with Greg Valentine in the previous year in '84 with the leg injury, and Tito had said in a house match with Paul Orndorff something wrong with his knee. Here's the thing about Tito Santana and Paul Orndorff. If Tito has commonly said that most oftenly said as two of his favorite workers, his wrestlers to work with, two favorite opponents, Greg the Hammer Valentine and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. He got their names on his phone. That's how he loves working with these two guys. And this match ended up being kind of a draw. I thought it would go to 15-minute draw, and they work well together. But Jesse Ventura kept pushing. Now that with the quarterfinals, you're going to see these guys pull out all the stops. And would Paul Orndorff try to push for a submission on Tito on his leg? Tito's not going to submit whatsoever, no matter what. He never did with Greg Valentine. And that was really legit injury. The question is, what's with the bandage on the upper thigh? Now, is that kind of legit, or is that a gimmick injury? But the two went at it outside the ring, ended up being that double count out. So both are eliminated from the tournament. All right, the next match is not part of the tournament. WWF World Champion Hulk Hogan would defend against Roddy Piper. Now, I thought this would have been maybe their first encounter on TV, if their first major encounter. No, it wasn't. It was actually in February, the MTV broadcast of War to Settle the Score, and both matches were practically the same. The way what Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura would push on this is it was a fight rather than a wrestling match. Now, if anybody knows me, I'm no fan of Hulk Hogan. And as much as I don't want to say I'm a fan of Roddy Piper had a better career when he was in the Mid-Atlantic days for several years. He had several great matches in the Mid-Atlantic area. But when he joined WWF, he was more the big mouth, Piper's Pit. As much as he is, for being a really young guy, he became an established wrestler in the Mid-Atlantic days in 1984 in the WWF. But Piper's Pit really made him a household name, the Big Mouth. And I said he's a far better actor. He really built his body up, muscular, when he became an actor past 87. But this is a key thing about Hulk Hogan's. Hulk Hogan had so many primary matches in his first years as world champion, 84 and 85. There were so many top heels for him to face. Roddy Piper, the fans loved to hate because it's big mouth. It was a push around fight. At one point, Roddy Piper applied a sleeper hold. Hogan went down, and wow, Jesse Ventura really went overboard. About how Roddy Piper would possibly put Hogan to sleep, and we could have a new crowning of a new champion, and he said it several times. And this is where Hogan made his Hulk up and rallying comeback. Then Roddy threw Hogan into the referee. That should have been disqualification. Then Roddy brings in a chair and tries clobbering Hogan. Hogan grabbed the chair, and then there was a fight over the chair. Referee's still down. I wish the referee had gotten up, because it would have been. I love to have seen a double disqualification with a chair usage, or Hogan being disqualified. I would find it funny to be a disqualification on the other side where Hogan's got the chair and Piper is I love to have seen that. But Hogan, one kind of quirky, funny moment is Hogan gets a sleeper on Roddy holding the chair. Why isn't the referee yet? Referee's waiting yet to see anything. Well, then Hogan drops the chair, and an official outside grabs the chair outside. So the referee never saw a chair whatsoever. Then out of nowhere, my second least wrestler. I could never stand him whatsoever. Cowboy Bob Orton and Jesse Ventura said, "Here's our ace in the hole." Roddy's ace in the hole. Cowboy Bob Orton comes in using his cast and clobbers Hogan. And finally in the show, Gorilla Monsoon, Pearl Harbor job. It's now Cowboy Bob Orton coming to the aid of Roddy Piper, and now the referee sees interference. Man, he didn't see the chair for a while, and the chair was really in the play for a while. But he sees Cowboy Bob Orton coming to the aid of Roddy Piper using his cast. Okay, now Roddy Piper's disqualified for outside interference. Then comes in Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And he comes in with a chair to get rid of Bob Orton and Roddy Piper. And this is where Paul Orndorff does his full face turn, baby face turn. And he would team up with Hogan throughout 1986, but they would eventually Orndorff would eventually turn heel and really draw big shows with Hulk Hogan. But this is, I think, the second televised big match between Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, and Hogan won by disqualification, just like the War of the Settled Score in February. He won by disqualification in this one, too. Okay, our only semifinal match in the Wrestling Classic tournament would be Dynamite Kid versus Randy Macho Man Savage. Wow. It was just to be an interesting match because I don't think these two have ever encountered, in between 85 and 86, where both have just broke into the WWF business-wise, have broke in. Two very different styles. Dynamite Kid was trained from the, I believe, from the Stu Hart Dungeon, half of the British Bulldogs. Randy Macho Man Savage, I had to look up. He was trained by his father Angelo Poffo. Very different styles, but the one thing that Monsoon and Ventura were pushing, that Savage has ring savvy. Well, Dynamite Kid's no slouch. He's an incredible wrestler, and so my God himself, he's wrestled around the world. It's what Chris Benoit, many others, would copy Dynamite's style. And Savage, he's a wrestler of his own right. He's one of the most iconic household. Most favorite hard-working wrestlers, let alone his tournament, and he would go on, let alone in a few more years, to win the world title in another tournament in WrestleMania 4. But in this tournament, it was hard fought every match. But this particular match, these guys, I don't think, have ever faced each other. If they faced in 6-man tags, but never one-on-one. Very different styles. But one thing, Savage and his ring smarts really overcame Dynamite Kid. Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon were really surprised when Dynamite Kid does a superplex off the top rope on Savage, and they act like they'd never seen one before. Wow. But the big surprise is as Dynamite finished the superplex, Savage caught Dynamite Kid's legs into a small package and got the pin. They were surprised they never saw a superplex. Are you telling me they have never ever seen a superplex on the top rope in WWF history? Really? But Randy Macho Man Savage pulled a big victory, a big surprise victory on Dynamite Kid. As soon as they landed, Savage caught his legs into a small package and pinned the Dynamite Kid to reach the final match. Okay, now the final match of the Wrestling Classic tournament will be Randy Macho Man Savage against the Junkyard Dog. Now, before this occurred, they had a presentation for the Rolls Royce. They gave it away, apparently. It would be similar to what they would do many years later in the 90s with a In Your House, the very first In Your House pay-per-view, where they gave away a house. But they apparently gave away a Rolls Royce. Okay, I learned some interesting fact just recently about the Rolls Royce giveaway. But before I tell you that part, they had WWF President Jack Tunney, and an accountant, and a person ahead of WWF Promotions, all saying about they had about 125,000 people that mailed in, fans and whatnot, mailed in 125 entrants to apply to win the Rolls Royce, and they had to qualify about maybe age and what qualifying eligibilities. And it took, at first it was Jack Tunney, then 2 other people, and then Lord Alfred Hayes opened up the envelope and announced somebody named Michael Henley, and from Illinois. Okay, yeah, nationwide, 125 Alton entrants, and the one's from Illinois, and they didn't even have a picture of the person, or a person show up to the arena in Chicago at the Rosemont Horizon to even show up to, hand him the keys, so paperwork that he's won this. Now, the fact I learned about this on the podcast Something to Wrestle With, Conrad Thompson, host with Bruce Pritchard, just covered this show. I mean, a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I just informed them on YouTube I'm going to cover this show, a Wrestling Classic. And they inform the information, the fact I
I just learned about, the Rolls Royce was owned by Georgia promoter and part owner Jim Barnett. He owned, and he gave away the Rolls Royce. Okay. I think he said he had an extra one, or he just gave it away. Okay. Now to the match. The final match was Junkyard Dog and Randy Macho Man Savage. Savage looked really tired. Yes, he had worked 3 good matches. The first round against Ivan Pinsky. Second against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And third against Dynamite Kid. All 3 were good ring competitors. And Savage, wow, he really worked in this show. And by the time he reached Junkyard Dog had worked with the Iron Sheik in the first round, and worked with Moondog Spot. Now, but because of the Tito Santana Paul Orndorff double countout and both men are eliminated, he didn't face a third opponent. This pisses off Jesse Ventura at ringside, as commentary. Pisses him off. That Junkyard Dog was absolutely fresh. Savage, he did look really tired for this match, but Savage, tried to do what he could, and he even almost used the chair. I'm surprised at times that he threw the chair in. Junkyard Dog caught the chair. I'm surprised Savage wasn't disqualified for throwing the chair into the ring. And the only better he got of Junkyard Dog was like pushing him into the ring post. Eventually, Junkyard Dog counters Savage by picking him up, and he tossed him out over the top rope. Now, we've always bitched about the NWA over the top rope disqualification. Now, here it comes. The WWF never had that rule. So, Junkyard Dog upends Savage over the top rope. Savage is so tired he can't get up hardly. Elizabeth can't even pick him up, and he is counted out. Junkyard Dog has won the Wrestling Classic tournament by countout. Here comes Jesse Ventura, pissed off that Junkyard Dog was fresh, showing had 2 matches. Savage had 3 great ring work act. Wow, 3 great opponents. It really tired him out, and Savage could not continue by a countout. And Jesse Ventura's pissed off about this, but Junkyard Dog is declared winner of the Wrestling Classic tournament by a countout over Randy Macho Man Savage. If you like this video, please subscribe, comment, like or dislike, and thank you for watching.